Okay. I got sent a link of the CBC interviewing Susan Gapka about the trans policy changes in Alberta. Susan Gapka, that caught my attention because, again, let me remind you that last fall, the unions got together and there was a leaked Zoom call. They were telling you exactly how they felt about parents. Susan Gapka happened to be one of those people on the union calls. I remember this person. Where have I seen this person before? Well, it was on the union call. I'm going to play a little clip because I want you to hear something that Susan is saying in this CBC interview.
But for, people that are younger than 15 years old, for children that are younger than 15, why should parents not have a say in this?
One piece of misinformation that I saw in the video clip was that youth don't have access to gender-affirming surgeries. We want them to have safe spaces to talk about it, to be able to get to get therapy, to be able to go through it and see, this is really who I am. We just don't make these decisions like we decide what we're going to have for breakfast in the morning, or we don't become trans by depending on, oh, what clothes will I wear today? This is a very deep-held personal belief system of who we are, just like everyone else.
This is a very deeply held belief system, just like everyone else. When I heard this, I was surprised to hear it coming out of the mouth of a trans activist, but I was not surprised at this concept. Let me just repeat that again. We don't just wake up one day and decide to be trans. It is a deeply held belief. I'm going to share a few tweets. I'm going to read these tweets for you, and then we'll talk about it. Think Out Loud 82 says, baptized as a baby, confirmation as a child. It needs to stop. They aren't old enough to choose a religion. Meg says, we should probably stop doing First Communion and confirmation for kids too, for school kids too, right? They're not old enough or mature enough to understand these lifelong, irreversible commitments. And Shelby Grace O'Shea says, there should be a law passed that no child under 18 can attend church. If you don't think a youth can decide what pronoun they want to use, indoctrination of children of any religion should also be illegal and called child abuse. I came across multiple tweets of this flavor. To be explicit, the flavor is, if their religion does it, why can't our religion do it? I was quite shocked and surprised by this because they're again saying the quiet part out loud. And Susan herself or himself is saying the quiet part out loud. This is a deeply held belief. This is a faith-based leap that people are making. It is a political identity. In fact, fun fact, I think in the 1950s, the American political system was trying to class communism as a religion because of the faith that requires to follow the communist ideology. And you're seeing the same thing with trans and queer ideology as a political identity that has religious flavors of the secular kind. So Susan, who was selected to go onto to represent the trans community, has obvious ties to some pretty high level political people. And here you see her photographed with Olivia Chow and with Jagmeet himself.
I can't let this pass.
Okay.
It looks like Jagmeet with his power fist is checking out Susan's boobs.
Possibly.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I'm sorry to take people there, but Jagmeet's just caught in one of those. You shouldn't be looking. You're like, eyes up here, buddy.
Photo. Well, there's definitely like a man gut going on. Sorry, Susan, but that's definitely that's a man shape. If I ever
the hips don't lie.
They do not lie. And then you see here with our good friend Joel Harding
and Ariel Trotsky.
Yes. And so Susan seems to be well connected to the Liberals and NDP who have taken on this as a flagship issue. They cannot let it go. Let me remind you, they do fund people like Egal. They fund people like anti-hate They fund all kinds of organizations who then take it upon themselves to create beautiful trouble, to demoralize the general population, to rip the confidence from out of them.
A great profile on this character. Yeah, really, really well done. We're going to finish with a video of Susan from the Union League. Is that right, Melanie?
Yeah.
I'm bewildered, but I'm actually Susan Gapka. I'm here with CUPE Ontario. I'm the Human Rights Chair and been directed by our president at CUPE Ontario to throw off my Sunshine Susie cape and put on my Super Susan cape. But I use she, her pronouns, and I use elle française, and I've got a heck of a lot of emotion surrounding this. I'm an out trans woman. I'm a trans elder.
She's a golden unicorn.
And, 20 years ago, we could get 5 people to protest at Queen's Park to get our health care restored. Now I'm, and I'm going to say, I don't want to go too long, Don, or whoever's facilitating, but a lot of memories of the fights we've had where we struggled. There were just a handful of us meeting in a room, going out, trying to get allies and supporters. In about a week, and then we built this Canada where trans and non-binary people and gender diverse people were included, and that took a good 13 to 15 years, and here we are.
There were no non-binary people 15 years ago.
But folks, we've been to this rodeo before. We have struggled, we've survived, we've struggled, and some of us have actually overcome, and that makes us really, really strong. So about 10 days ago, or it feels like a lifetime ago in our world, when Stephen Lying Leche said that, put out the trial about parental consent in the schools, my life seems to have changed. And then after Conservative Convention, and these are really minor and many of us know how politics works, the inner wheel of big P politics, and they're simply resolutions. But the fuel behind these resolutions that the Conservative Party adopted. And so I was feeling a little lost after that, wondered what's going to happen. And now you all bring me so much joy, so much comfort to know that there's more than 5 of us looking at each other in a small room, that we are here united in the struggle, in solidarity together. I just want to touch on Carolyn's comments, my comrade over there smiling in the corner box. I'm in agreement, and most people I'm talking to in my little bubble here, which is expanding as we speak, people that I talk to want to stop this dead in its tracks, and that's the wrong word to use. That's a figure of speech, but we want to show them strength. And what we have in labor is numbers. And if we can put up a good show on the 20th, but not make this a one-time event, we need to be doing counter-protests, educational forums. Trans Day of Remembrance is coming up, and we need to add that political message. We want our political people, the people who have been, the word I'm thinking of misinformation, that there's this myth and misinformation of what's happening in our schools, what drag queens are doing. We need to be giving them the key message. We need to have opportunities there's so many of them, it's hard to counter all the hate messages, but we have time to do that. But but Carolyn, back to you. If we stand up to the bully will decide what to do. They will fight, fright, or flight, fight, or fright. And so let's give them some fright on September 20th, so that on September 21st till whenever that they're working on the flight tactic. I think I'm going to stop there.
Not only frighten them, but Susan has been doing this organizing with the comrades for however many years. I mean, this may be an unpopular thing to say, but before trans, you had the gay liberation, but the gay liberation was also highly Marxist. And so you have a lot of that in the gay liberation movement. Now, look, it did have some positive effects. I'm not saying I'm against it, the positive effects of those sorts of things. And I don't want to insult some of the gay friends that I have, but the gay liberation movement did have a heavily bent towards Marxist revolutionaries as well. Clearly, Susan was one of those people who talks to her comrades in solidarity in this video and is telling you that trans is political. We need to make sure we know how the political system works. We want to keep it political. You know, also Susan lies, telling you that we want to, get rid of this disinformation about drag queens in schools. I've done a deep dive on exactly what the Drag Queen Story Hour means, what age appropriate and family friendly really means, using the academics' papers themselves. So those are lies. Those are lies. It's politicized. And Susan has no problem telling Susan's colleagues, or comrades, as Susan likes to call them, that they want to give parents, and they're talking about parents here, they want to give parents a fright.